Today we celebrate the worst season of Rainbow Six in Rainbow Six history by making the ultimate Rainbow Six Year 9 Season 2 tier list. We're going to go over all the best operators to play, all the worst operators to play, and how to be epic tier list master gamer. Okay, great, fantastic. Let's get into it. Let's start ranking these ops. Starting off with Ace, one of the best operators in the game. He is the best hard breacher, but he's also one of the best operators in the game. He's an obvious S tier. There's no competition to Ace right now in the hard breaching department unless you're talking about competitive, but today we're talking specifically about ranked, and in ranked, Ace, he's just one of the best operators in the game. He's gonna be S tier easily. Albi's next up. She has still a great gun. She doesn't have that ACOG anymore, which she was a beast when she had the ACOG, don't get me wrong, but now people don't really play her. Her utility is just like not the best, but she's like an okay operator. I'm gonna put her in C tier. Nothing special, nothing crazy. I do want to kind of speed run through this tier list if I can today, kind of like just juice the info. Let's just milk the info for you guys. So we're not going to talk too much about each operator. I'm just going to rank them. You're going to see who's good, who's bad, and you can play him. You can trust me, or you could just say, hey, screw this guy. I'm not going to listen to anything he says. Amaru's next up. Amaru's pretty bad, but she's okay. She has a good loadout. I'm going to put her in C tier. You know, you can get those quick rushes, quick control, and in ranked, she's like pretty okay, and plus her loadout, her guns are really good. So she's like an easy operator to use, but she only has so much depth to her, I would say. Aruni's next up. Very solid operator. That fist, those fisting capabilities are just next level. That's one of her best assets, honestly, but her gates are also very useful, especially on like windows to stop drones from coming in. Good for just information in general. Just having the gate there, they have to burn it or they have to walk through it. There's no other options, right? So they have to give you that information in order to get past that gate, unless they like Brava hack it. Brava is also pretty prevalent right now. I'm gonna put Rooney in the A tier, not quite S, but very strong, and you can't really go wrong with picking her. Ash is next up. Very well-rounded, great guns, great utility, just useful all around. You can pretty much never go wrong with picking Ash, so I'm gonna put her in A tier. She's not quite S tier just because her utility is not like the best of the best, right? She only has 2 Ash charges compared to like Zofia, who has 2 stuns and 2 impacts, but you can get a lot done with her, and she's just really good. Azami is still overpowered as hell. One of the best operators in the game, probably my top 5. We'll see by the end of this video if that's true or not, but even the nerf that they did to her, it just was nowhere near substantial enough to actually impact her use. Like, she's still just as useful as she was before. She's been in the S tier for the past maybe 4 seasons, or since she came out, and she's gonna stay there for now. Bandit's getting a little more prevalent, especially with EMP charges, so bandit tricking is a little more useful now, especially when Mav lost his grenades. That was a while ago, of course. He's good, but he's not useful all the time. He's only useful on some sites. Tricking is solid. I'm gonna give him a B tier. Like, that's a good ranking, you know. He's decent. Blackbeard, still one of the worst operators in the game. He's gonna be F tier. He can be good, you know. I have made videos claiming that Blackbeard can be one of the best operators in the game, and he can be in very niche circumstances, and if you have the skills required to do so. So he's gonna be an F tier. Honestly, there's just always gonna be a better pick. You can pick him, and you can like entry with him, and you can kind of be annoying, but outside of that, there's just better operators to pick, and he's gonna be an F tier. Blitz is super strong since the shield rework. All shields are pretty good now. He's not quite as good as Monty, and Monty's obviously not on the list yet, but I think Blitz is like still an underrated pick and still very strong. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Actually, I'm gonna put him low A. I think Blitz he's just really good. He brings that aggression factor. There's not too many operators that counter him, and he is just like really annoying. This is funny because Blitz used to be like FD tier. Now with this shield rework, I honestly think he's like an A tier. Maybe not quite. We'll put him in B tier. Maybe not quite. A might be a little extensive, especially if you're playing against good players who are coordinated and can work together. Then your shield's not gonna get quite as much done, but he's still really good. Brava is really strong in the current meta, countering Aruni, Maestro, Echo, some of the best defenders that there are. Capcan even. I'm gonna put Brava in the A tier. I think her loadout's also really strong. She has that secondary shotgun. She's got the para. She wants a pair of these nuts in her mouth. I don't know. There's a lot of bonuses for Brava. So she's gonna be like a low A tier pick for me. Just not good all the time, I would say. Just not exceptional all the time, like Ace and Aruni would be, or sorry, Azami would be. Buck is one of the best, just like one-man armies in the game. Right? He has the skeleton key for breaching from below, above, close range. Like if you want to shotgun someone in the face, it's very good for that. A great weapon, very versatile, on the fly playmaking, Gone 6, hard breach tools if you want them, flashbangs if you want a little even more aggression on it. He's definitely an S tier pick for me. I think he's probably not quite as good as his ace, but they're very, very similar in terms of how strong they are. And if you're picking either of these guys, you're really in a really, really good spot every single round. I think Capitao is much more liked on console, but for PC, I just don't think he's that good. I would personally just rather have smoke grenades and some other ability. I find his ability does put you at risk a lot of the time. I would much rather just bring Rim even. He does have the hard breach tools in Gun 6, so he can do a lot of stuff individually, of course. I think he's like a C tier, maybe even a D. Low C for now. I know a lot of people do really like Capitao and they think he's really, really good. However, the higher in the ranks you get, I would say the less strong Capitao gets, but he can have his moments. He can have his moments. Really, really strong on Clubhouse. I think I mentioned that pretty much every tier list is like Capitao Clubhouse, great pick. Other sites, other maps, I don't know. Maybe I just need to play him a little bit more, but he definitely has good moments for sure. I'm not trying to slam on Capitao. I'm not trying to hate on him, but he's gonna be C tier. More Cafe. Castle's like a pretty good operator, especially if you're solo queue and you're going against a Castle. He can be really annoying because your teammates might not bring the things required or have the necessary level of teamwork to actually deal with a Castle, and it can be really annoying to play against a Castle if you don't have a 5-stack. So he's good against like individual players in that sense, but against like a squad who knows what they're doing, he's not gonna really achieve much. Basically, the counter to Castle is just break the castles, which is pretty straightforward. If you just see a castle, you break it. If you're Ash or you have Gone 6 or whatever, and like a lot of the time he can actually work against his own team. I think he is still really good. I'm gonna put him in the B tier, low B. He's like a decent operator, especially on the right sides. He's just not gonna be like the best all the time. I honestly think Cav is better than a lot of people make her out to be, especially because a lot of people don't drone. There's a lot of just rat spots you can use her well. Interrogations are of course so big they can win the round for your team. I think Cav, like most people put her F or D. I'm gonna actually put her in C tier. I think she's actually like pretty solid, especially if we play her the right way. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this in the comments. Go ahead, slam me, say, Cat's bad, you're an idiot. No. Shut up, dude. I don't care. I'm top champ. I'm top champ gamer, okay? Actually, I'm not champ because I haven't played ranked, because there's every single game's cheater. If you're top champ, they're like 95% top champs are cheaters right now. However, like my competitive experience and ranked, I'm not trying to like juice myself up here by any means. I'm just saying that Cav, I think she gets a bit of a bad rap, and I don't think she's as bad as you might think. If you wanted to try her out and get better with her and maybe play her a little more positionally and play her a little more based off like information and counter information, then I find she can be pretty good. Clash has her moments. Like there are sites where Clash is good. Most of the time Clash is bad. I do think if you know how to play Clash, she can be like a D tier pick. She could be S tier on some sites, right? There's like Oregon Basement where she's gonna be like really, really strong, or maybe like an A tier, maybe not quite S. She could be like an A tier sometimes. However, it's very, very rare. It's very, very niche. She's gonna be D tier. Useful sometimes. Most of the time she's not. I think Deimos is one of the best operators. A lot of people don't like Deimos. I think he's super, super good if you play him alongside drones and information, and you can do that on your own. You don't need a stack to play Deimos. Deimos can be really, really lethal solo queue. Even better in a stack because you can feed that information to your teammates at the same time and get those pinches and work together to actually use that Deimos track to your advantage. A lot of time you can scan people and then just be ready for other fights because people think you're just gonna like sprint at the guy that scanned, which you shouldn't do, obviously. I think Deimos is really good. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Doc is super effective in the meta right now. Everybody's running gun, everybody's stimming up, juicing up. He's got great guns. He gives you the confidence to just run around and just fight everyone, and most of the time that seems to work. Like it's kind of stupid, and like his ability is really not that good. However, based on the confidence he gives you and just the way people play the game right now, it's kind of sad that I'm putting him in the A tier because I really don't think he's that good. But the way people play him, like it's just easy. It's just easy to pick Doc and just go kill everyone, and it's almost too easy in a sense. He's just strong. Like you could pick him every round and you'd probably be fine. The problem with Doc is when you start getting Doc, Rook, and like some like a Vigil where you now have no utility. When you stack a bunch of these operators that just shoot people together, now you don't have any traps, you don't have any info, and then you're kind of struggling to actually get those kills because you don't have the info to actually make those aggressive plays. So that's where Doc kind of falls off for me, and where he kind of gets bad is when you have like a bunch of essential Doc mains stacked up together. Dokkaebi is next up. Been very, very strong for a very, very long time as well, similar to Azami. She's banned pretty much every game at the top rank. She's super good. I think she's probably the #1 attacker in the game. We'll find out by the end of this if that's true or not. I don't think she's quite as OP as Azami can can be, but she is very, very annoying and very, very useful and very, very strong. So she's going to be top of S tier. Echo is one of the more underrated defenders in my opinion. I think you can use those drones aggressively to make really good plays, especially when you combo up with like a duo or a stack. Plus he can stop plant. You can play him passively, you can play him aggressively. He has so many different play styles that makes him useful. I personally bring the impact grenades instead of the shield, so you can be even more aggressive, impacting out of windows off of info from the cams. A lot of good spawn peaks, a lot of good runouts. Echo, he's going to be A tier for me. I think he's super, super strong, and I think more people need to play him. Ella is pretty good. Her utility is not the best, and plus I'm not very good with her guns, which is why she is going to be lower than you might expect. I do like the shotgun, honestly. The Scorpion, I don't know. I just find there's a lot of recoil. It can be good. It's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's just not my gun. I don't play Ella very much, and her traps, they're just kind of mid, like especially compared to Fenrir, who's right after her, or other trap operators like Capcan, Malusi, where you have Malusi who also gets 3 traps, except they just slow the enemies so much more and make it so much easier to kill them off of that trap. Her traps are really just information that also kind of deafens the attackers, and I'm not a huge fan. I think she's like D tier, top of D tier, better than Clash, but yeah, I'm putting Ella below Cav. Fenrir is next up. Definitely still S tier. He just got nerfed, but it wasn't really a nerf. It was more of just a change, right? Because now he actually gets his calls back, which is super, super nice. He can't cover quite as much ground at the same time like before, when he could have 3 traps up at once. So he had a lot of just really dominant control before and dominant information. Now it's more like you can play them aggressively and then pull them back afterwards, which honestly I think gives him even more use. I think Fenrir is super good right now. I would honestly put him above Doke, maybe even above Azami, but definitely on par with Azami. Just super, super strong. You can run him every single round. He's banned in almost every game. These are the top 2 defender bans right now, and it's very valid because they are very, very strong. I think Finka is also still really, really good with that LMG plus those stims. Those stims just achieve so much, and she has the grenades, right? Yeah, she has grenades to destroy utility. I just want to make sure I was right on that. I don't know why I had a bit of a brain fart there, but overall super well-rounded, super good. I'm going to put her in the A tier. A lot of people think Finka is really weak still, but she's still really good. I don't know. Like, you could run her every round, be very effective. I think Finka's good. Give me a reason why you think she's not good in the comments, and maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? Low A though. Yeah, she's not quite as good as these guys. Flores is a little outdated. He's a little old. He's a little out of meta, bro. Like, he's in the adult diapers at this time because like he just fell off. Like, he used to be super, super strong. Now he's just like, meh, you don't need Flores. You know what I mean? There's not enough like destructible utility for Flores to be super good. He is good for destroying traps to make new entrances into the site, but I find you can get away with a Brava. You can get away with a Twitch. He's kind of like intertwined with these guys. He is still good. Don't get me wrong. The flashbangs are nice for playmaking. You can pull off like a Flores bait. A lot of good stuff here. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I just don't think he's quite as strong as he used to be. And that kind of applies to Frost as well. Not quite as strong as she used to be. Now that people can revive out of the mats, you do have to play near them. A lot of the time you're just getting that damage off. And a lot of the time they're just shooting the mats. I find that Frost is just not, she's just not there right now. She's just not quite there. I am going to put her above Alibi. I might have actually put her in the low B tier. She is like a better Alibi in a sense. Alibi you can put under windows. They have to hop in. They have to shoot it. Same thing with the Frost mat. You can kind of play them around the same way. And putting them under windows is going to be your best bet. Under windows on staircases. Plus, they do kill people, unlike the Alibi Prismas. And she has that 1.5 and the shield and the shotgun. So there's a little bit more going for her than Alibi. Fuse is next up. Honestly, super weak. I know Garfield loves Fuse. I think on console he's better because the sound is less directional. But on PC, you can literally pinpoint sound through the floor. So you'll know where he's fusing, and you can C4 him very easily because he is so loud. He's a 1 speed, so he's clunking around up there, and then he places a fuse charge, which takes a while. There's a lot of time to get C4s off on him, which is why vertical fuse is not the greatest. Doing it on Windows, however, to destroy utility is pretty good. There is a lot of opportunity for utility destruction with Fuse. I just think he's the most risky one to do it with, essentially. He does have the AK-12, and he's not completely horrible, but he is like a D tier pick for me. I mean, I would almost even put him in the F tier, just like an operator you don't really need to run ever, when you could run vertical with RAM and also destroy things with RAM, or you could run Flores for a lot safer destruction. So I'm sorry, he's just bad. I think Glaz is still really, really good. Most people are picking other ops over him most of the time. Like, you could bring a Ying instead of a Glaz because Ying is so strong. Glaz, however, can have some really great moments. I'm going to put Glaz in the low B tier because I believe in Glaz. I definitely believe in Goyo as well. Having that ACOG on the Vector is gross. I like running the ACOG suppressor. Goyo off barricades to stop rushes. A lot of really, really strong utility with Goyo, excuse me. I'm gonna put him in the S tier. Honestly, I think just great loadout. He's fast, he's aggressive, he's almost like Doc, except you can place all your utility ahead of time so you'll never die with it. And then you're just slamming everyone with the Vector. That high rate of fire and having the ACOG, you can kill everyone at any range super quick. And I think he's just really, really good, and honestly a little bit underrated because I could play him every single round. I think Gridlock is overrated, overhyped, and kind of bad. I think the only thing Gridlock is good for is causing chaos, causing distractions, throwing Gridlocks down, throwing smokes down, planning while you do it, or just being a bait while your team does something from somewhere else. I think the flank watch capabilities of Gridlock are very, very weak. I think that's the worst way to play her. Whenever I play Gridlock like that, I get flanked, and I don't hear it because the audio of those Gridlocks are not loud, especially if they're just walking through it. I feel like Nomad's just the much more superior run out / flank watch operator. Gridlock's capabilities, you know, good for site execute, good for distraction, and kind of just good, like kind of okay throughout the round, you know, like blocking stuff off with the Gridlocks, getting aggressive. But I don't know, I'm sorry guys, she's high C. She's high C. A little better on console. I'll put her in B tier for console, okay? Then we got Grim. Grim is like top-notch plant execute operator. Very, very useful. Very, very strong. It gives you wall hacks. Grim gives you wall hacks on areas, and a massive amount of areas too. You get 5 Bs with a massive range that lasts a long time. Great for cutting off angles and fighting other people on other gunfights. I think Grim is really, really strong right now. Like very strong. I'm going to put him in the A tier above Ashe, above Echo, and even above Deimos. Top of A. Hibana's fallen off, just the slowest hard breacher. She does that range, but she's just so slow. Her guns are fine, but she's just got nothing on Ace. She's got nothing on Thermite. She's just meh. She's fine. She's aggressive. You can play her as like a second hard breach and she's really good. Put her low B. I just find that I'm not picking her very much these days because if I do want to play hard breach, I'm bringing Ace or Thermite because they are just the best in most of the situations that you'll encounter. Really, Hibana, the only time she's going to be the best is like a basement site. Bank basement, you can open up all 4 hatches. That's like the one situation where Hibana's going to be better than everyone else. Basically bank. That's about it. And most of the time, some of the hatches are cated. Thatcher's banned. You don't have EMPs, whatever. You're only going to open 2 hatches anyway. Yeah, I'm just not feeling her. I am still feeling Yana. I think Yana is still really good. She did lose her flashbangs. Yana was an operator that was so underrated for me personally. Like best solo queue op in the game with the flashbangs. Now, probably not. She's still really good for solo queue. That G36 is such a laser. It's so good. And then she has the smokes or the EMPs. So she's just become more of a team operator, which does bring her down a notch. Any operator that's fully self-sufficient is gonna be better than the same operator, less self-sufficiency, right? Being self-sufficient is an advantage for you. So I think Yana's still strong. I'm gonna put her in the A tier, dude. I think she's still great, even with the smokes or the EMPs. The clones are just so much information and so strong, and I think she's just really well-rounded. IQ is next up. I think IQ's she's whack. She's fine. Like she's good against Valk and Echo if they're running a lot of it. I just find her gadget has never really provided that much utility and that much use. So I'm gonna put her in C tier. I mean, I think she's bad. I don't know. She's like a Maru. Like she's got the the G8 with an ACOG, and that's like her best asset. And outside of that, it's like you're probably just picking her for that and the speed, you know? Like, and if you're not, man, she's got the nades now too, though, which is nice. Yeah, she's kind of on par with Gridlock, just like not super useful. And there's a lot better options most of the time. I think Jackal is one of the most overhyped operators, still banned all the time. I love when people play Jackal because I just play Cav and then sneak around with Silent Step on. They can't track me. And if they do track me because they found some footprints that I didn't have, you can just activate the ability as the scan comes around. It won't actually ping you. So Cav's a great counter because it still forces them to drone, and Jackal's essentially useless because you pick Jackal to go, oh, I'm going to track the roamers, they're going to run back to site, or we can just go kill them. And that's that. That's wraps, right? That's a great way to roam clear. However, they just pick the Cav. Now you still have to do all the droning and you have to do all the extra work that you would have had to do anyway if you weren't Jackal. So you can just bring someone else's ability. So Jackal, very easy to counter. Also, another great counter, just having 2 roamers just working together. I think definitely overhyped. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I think he is better than Blitz. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I'm putting the A tier lower than Yana. I know I just kind of shit all over him, but that's mainly because people think he's like the best attacker in the game. They have to ban him every single time. It's not the case. It's not the case. He's good. He's good. Jaeger is next up. 3 ADSs. Not a lot of projectiles these days. Not a lot of like power positions that people are holding. It's more of like a TDM meta still, like it has been for a while. And I'm okay with that. I'm not mad about it. I'm never picking Jaeger. I'm hardly ever picking Jaeger. I'm picking Wamai over him 99% of the time. He's he's still good. Don't get me wrong. He's still good. I just think he's like fallen off quite a bit. I'm putting him B tier. I don't think he's necessary most of the time, and he's fine. I think Cade is an S tier operator. Super good, especially with Thatcher Ban. Counter to the EMP gadgets. He can counter Kali. If you put the Cades in the right place, you can Cade trick. There's so many good advantages of Cade. The TCSG, nasty if you practice it a bit. I was horrible with that gun, but now I'm really good with it, and I can see why it's so good. Cade barbed wire also kind of lit. Kudos. He was spitting when he said Cade barbed wire, because I've been using that quite a bit, and it's also been very nice, and I've been liking it. So Cade is going to be S tier. Let me move my picture frame here. Let me adjust my picture frame. Wait, it's purple. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Cade, where in the S tier are we gonna put him? I'm gonna put him above Goyo, and yeah, I was pranking with this. Goyo's gonna be top A. Cade low S, Goyo top A. Kali is so bad. Kali's another F tier operator for me. I think Kali's worse than Blackbeard. She can be good for destroying utility, like especially if you do it on a barricade, you can like kind of break the utility around it. But that sniper, man, just it's so bad. Like just never use that thing. It's so inconsistent. You're just gonna die. Like you're gonna hit them in the shoulder, and it's gonna do like 70 damage, and then you're just gonna shoot you in the face. You're gonna lose your gunfight, and you're gonna be pissed because you're like I just shot them in the shoulder. They should be dead. A lot of just downsides to her. The SMG is good. I'm not gonna hate on the SMG, but it's not enough to consider picking Kali. There's so many better picks, and if you want to like get wall denial off, for example, she's not even consistent for that. You can counter that with any sort of bandit trick, Cade trick, invincible Cades. There's so many ways to get around that lance, which is why she's so bad, is because people think she's good when they're playing other bad players. But if you find one person who is just like knows how to counter Kali, then I just don't like her whatsoever. Capcan is really good. Of course, they can just shoot the cap cans, but very good in certain situations, like when they're playing overly aggressive. They're not droning, they're just rushing. You know, you just bust the cap can out, you put 3 on a doorway, and they're gonna get absolutely nuked, no matter how fast their operator and how much armor they have. They are dead. Capcan, a lot of good spots, a lot of tricky spots, great even on the site entrances. Of course, Brava is a counter, and shooting them is a counter. So it definitely depends on who you're playing against, how good he is. But in like champ ranked, he's actually like a very, very solid pick. I'd put him like in the A tier. Legion, another great operator. Lots of information from him. Damage with the Goo Mines is back, which is very nice. He has that secondary shotgun. He doesn't have the impacts anymore, so it does kind of hurt him a bit, but I still think he's really, really good, especially just the amount of information he has. I think he's still an S tier pick, so I'm going to put him there. Lion has the Vector, which is very nice. I think Lion is overhyped as well. I think a lot of people pick Lion thinking they're doing something, pressing the ability button, getting them to stop standing for a few seconds. But Lion is all about coordination and timing with your team, which 90% of people don't have. If you are in that situation, he can be like an A tier pick. Most of the time, he is absolutely useless based on the way people play him. However, he's okay for solo queue. I think if you're droning and using the ability with your own information and actually playing off of that in a good way, or you're holding flank or something, he can be okay. But even then, like you don't need his ability to hold the flank if you're just sitting there watching it, right? I do like his guns. I think his loadout's fine. I think he's okay, but I just think he's a little weaker right now than most of the ops. I think Maestro is another super strong op that's definitely underrated. Brava being so good is going to take him down a whole tier. I would normally put him in the A tier. Just LMG, 3 Maestro cams, so good. But there is a lot of Brava play, and because the attackers can just switch off, they're going to find your Maestro cams. Like they're going to know your Maestro in the prep phase, and they're going to pick Brava, because hacking the cams is so strong. If you're not doing that, start doing it, because you see these Maestro cams, you just hack them, and now you can just zap all the other utility. You can zap the defenders. You can be so annoying with them, and they're really good. I'm gonna put him in the B tier just because that Brava counter is so good, but Maestro is very strong, especially like maybe just hit a Brava ban. Try out a Brava ban and bring in the Maestro. It might just be the best decision of your life. Maverick's pretty weak still right now. He is good in the sense that you can counter all the tricking, all the bullshit, all the stuff. You just mav a hole in the wall. Great with the Glaz too. The Glaz Mav strat, classic duo strat, very strong. I think Mav has his good moments and has the right time to pick him, especially if you're playing him in like this sneaky manner. Like you have your whole team like push the backside on Chalet, and then you just like wait, and you have a drone in the drone hole on the front side. You see no one's watching, you make a little hole, you can see through connector, you shoot someone in the back. So there's a lot of like fun stuff with Matt. I think he's a very fun operator. In terms of actual strength, I think he's on par with these C tier ops. I think he's probably better than like Capitao, Cav, Amaru, IQ even, maybe probably in Gridlock, probably like a top C operator here. Malusi is next up. Wub's very strong. Of course, Brava does counter her. I find it's easier to shoot the Brava drones when they're hacking the Malusis because of the areas that the drones have to come. The Brava drone getting the Malusi isn't going to do too much because you can just go and shoot the Malusi, whereas with the Maestro Cam, you have to impact it or waste like some of that utility. I think Malusi is an S tier. Best information for traps, because if they're pushing into the site and you have them tucked around doorways, they're going to get slowed, right? And that's a very easy target to kill. Mira is next up, dropping windows. Very strong, very strong. Of course, she is countered by Ashe now and Callie. I know Callie's sitting here in the F tier. That is one other thing she's good for, maybe breaking Mira windows, but just pick Ashe. Ashe has 2 Ashe charges. She can break both Miras. Or Twitch, who is good for way more stuff as well. Mira is still super strong though outside of that. Bring a Wamai, cover the Mira, and then like those Ashe charges are gone, those Callie lances are gone, whatever. She just creates like a very dominant situation. And of course the defenders can punch them, they can smoke them off, go and punch them. There's a lot of counters to her now, which is nice because before there was nothing. So the fact that you can punch them and Ashe them is very good. However, Mira is still really strong. She's getting banned all the time in rank still. And I do think that's because she's just really good, and like it forces you to have to work together and have to coordinate and have to like do better essentially to beat her. So I'm gonna put her in the low S tier. Before she'd probably be top S tier, now she's just low S tier, but I do think she is an S tier pick, and she's good on basically every single site. You can always like bring one above the site and hold above the site with the mirror windows as well. There's a lot of really good creative things you can do with her, and I think she is S tier. Monty is next up. Best shield operator in the game. So annoying, so strong, so good. Shields are so good right now. People hate them, and there's a reason for it. It's because they're so good and so annoying and so freaking good. A lot of people thought the shield rework would make shields weaker, but I think they make them just even more strong, because now when you get in that close range on an enemy, they're just dead. You drop the shield and you knock them over and they can't fight back, and they are completely screwed. I think Monty is going to be like an S tier pick. Probably not as good as Buck, but like really good. And that's part of the reason why Legion is also so good, because he counters these shields. And you can put the goo mines in spots where the shields hit them and they have to take a lot of damage to actually get out and take the goo mine out, like in Rafters on Clubhouse, where they have to leave the entire garage to take it out, and that's a huge walk with a goo mine in your foot. So yeah, Monty really good, Legion really good, S tier picks. Let's freaking go. Mozzie, not S tier. Mozzie's bad mute essentially. Just takes too much time to drive that drone around, set it up, and actually make it useful, I find. He's okay. He is okay. There's just so many better operators in my opinion. I do think he's better than Cav and Alibi and probably IQ, but I don't even think he's better than Gridlock. I think he's like C tier. Next up we have Mute. Mute is, like I just mentioned, the better version of Mozzie and more. Mute counters half of the operators in this freaking list. Like, he counters Dokkaebi, he counters Ace to a certain extent, he counters Grim, he counters Deimos, he counters Echo. No, he doesn't counter Echo. Echo's a defender. That was a joke. He just counters all of these operators as well as all of the drones that they have. So he counters literally everyone in every round, and he has one of the best loadouts. He has a C4, he has a shotgun. Play those close range. You can sit around corners with a shotgun. You can pump dudes. Dude, it's so nice. I just love pumping dudes, you know? So yeah, I mean, he's obviously S tier. He's literally one of the best. He's literally one of the best. Is he as good as Fenrir and Uzami? Yes. He is right up there with those three. Now we have Knock. Knock is the one operator who is worse than Callie, I think, right now. There is maybe one situation where Knock is good, and that's walking through bank lobby. And the only reason she's good for that is because you won't be able to hear her on the default cam. Now that you can hear Knock's footsteps, when she walks past the default cam, it doesn't matter that you can't see her because you can hear her, so you still know someone's there. If you're on the top square cam on bank and you hear someone walking and you know they have a knock, or you just hear someone walking, you're like, there's one top square. Like, you literally just call it out. There's one top square. You might not know exactly where she is, but you know one's there, so your team is still going to be ready and watch that side. So she's essentially useless in terms of like sneaking around, and that's kind of what her whole ability is. Plus her gun sucks, so she's just like, Callie has some situations where she can be good. Knock has none. Nomad is very, very good. I think Nomad's still very strong, very underrated too. Like, people are picking Gridlock, dude. Don't pick Gridlock, pick Nomad. Like, Nomad's just so good. I mean, again, Gridlock good for some other things like the site execute, etc. But Nomad just gains so much control, locks it off, gives you the info that you need, and I think you can really pick her like any time, and she's gonna be really solid. So I'm gonna give her the A tier pass. She gets the A tier pass. Let's go. Oryx is next up. Oryx is probably the worst defender in the game right now, just in the fact that his ability doesn't do a whole lot, and he only has a one-time sight. Now his gun is really good. He can move around quick, and if you want to just run around and shoot people, he can be good for that. And almost in the same way Doc is good for that, except he can't get his health back. and he can't heal teammates, and you're missing out on a lot if you're playing Oryx. I think he is D tier. I don't think he's quite F, but yeah, not good right now. Osa is pretty good, you know, EMPs, couple shields, pretty decent. I don't think she's super OP. A lot of impacts on the defense right now, especially with shields being so good, so that kind of brings her down a notch. I think she's like B tier, maybe like here. I think Blitz is better for sure. I think Castle is even better. Yeah, middle of B. I don't have a lot to say about Osa. Pulse is pretty good. The only downside is really that he has the ump, and that you are vulnerable when you're on his scanner. Of course, you can play him underneath, get C4 kills. I think you can gain a lot of info. You can even like pulse yourself around the map to know where people are at to make the decisions a little bit better. I find default cams almost work just as good as the pulse scanner outside of like C4ing through the floor and stopping plant. I think he's a little weak. I'm not picking him too much, but when you do pick him, he can be very impactful. I think I'll put him in the low B tier. Ram, one of the best operators in my opinion. Very good. Good for fast rushes, instantly busting down barricades. You know, it's essentially like ash rushing, where you ash a window and just go in, except it's even quicker, it's quieter, and it's just so fast. Like if I'm up against a window and there's a guy on the other side and I throw a ram through the window, I'm instantly killing him. He doesn't have time to react, to turn, aim at me, and shoot me, because my gun's already up after I'm throwing the ram through the air, and I'm already pulling my gun up, and that guy is dead. Plus, vertical is just so good for adding pressure. I don't think the vertical play is quite as good as Buck, because you're opening so much, the defenders can actually use it to their advantage as well. So it's almost like this middle ground of vertical play. But if you're playing her safely, cautiously, and you're just kind of like adding pressure, covering sound with these things, dude, these things are so good for sound cover. You can literally just throw a ram in and start planning, and they might not even know because it's so loud. I think Ram is really good. I think she's S tier, honestly. I think she's an S tier pick. Rook is next up. Rook armor. Great for countering Kali, guys. Let's bust out the Rook, baby. Rook's like bad Doc, you know. Most of the time, the armor's not really doing anything, because the guns are doing enough damage to actually take out that extra 20 HP in the same amount of bullets, which is funny. Usually you get sometimes you get maybe one more bullet to kill, but it's not. Most of the time, it's not make or break in terms of whether you're going to survive or not. Plus, you get self-revive. Everyone gets self-revive. I just don't really like Rook. I know it's weird, because Doc is good, but Rook is not as good. I'll put Rook in B tier, because it's the same premise where you just get the confidence to run around and shoot. You don't have to think too much, and you can just play how you want to play with Rook without having to worry about like being a teammate, doing anything specific. You can just run around and shoot people, essentially, which is like a nice thing to have. However, he's not as good as Mozzie, so he's gonna go here. Sense is next up. Sense, terrible attacker, another terrible attacker. Welcome to the F tier. Sense balls are just so bad. Like, they're just bad smoke grenades. They can be countered by explosives. If you throw some sense balls down because you're trying to cover a plant, one C4 is going to take out your sense balls, or one impact grenade, and now your planter is dead and you've lost the round. There's just so many downsides of these things. The fact that they're just so clunky and they bounce off things when they're not supposed to is awful. You do have 4, and you have like some hard breach tools. The gun, Sense's gun is like not that good. Most of the time, Sense is more screwing you over than helping you, I find. And the fact that the things just bounce around, like sometimes you wish you didn't throw your sense charge because they're so ass. I think Sense is worse than Blackbeard and Kali. Knock is still so useless though. All right, we got Striker. Is this Striker or Sentry? I think this is Sentry. We got Sentry next, the defender. Sentry is pretty bad. I mean, the only real good combos with Sentry is Proximity Mine C4, which honestly I don't think is that good, and I'll explain in a second. And the other good one is Impacts in C4. So Proximity C4 is nice because you can have a beeper, a C4 underneath. Once the beeper goes off, you blow the C4. It's going to be a kill basically every single time. My problem is that you can only put one proximity of your 2 proximity mines down, because otherwise if the other one goes off, you'll blow your C4 and you won't get the kill. It's a waste of your C4 and your other proxy, so then you're really only getting value of one proxy. So proxy C4 is bad for that reason. But the other thing is that you have to hope that they come through that doorway or that window or that area. And if they don't, your ability is completely useless, because now your C4 is gone and the proximity. Sure, you can go pick it up, but you're not gonna be able to set that trap up again, and now you're just an operator with a C4. So why not just play mute? Like, why not just play someone with way better utility? 4 mute jammers or 1 proximity mine. Which one is better? You tell me. I just really don't like that aspect. Now, The nice part about Sentry is that you are self-sufficient in the fact that you have the shotgun. You can pick a C4 and impacts. You can pick maybe a shield and a C4 and sit behind the shield and throw the C4. But any other operator, like if you have one other teammate, you can run those two things. You can say, hey man, can you bring a shield for me? Then you can just run the C4 on mute. And then you have the mute jammers and the shield and the C4 still. And your teammate has another ability still as well. So it's just the operator abilities are always going to be better than the secondary abilities, just straight up. Like 4 Fenrir mines are better than 2 proximities, right? So Sentry, weak in my opinion. Maybe like a B tier, just so the fact that like self-sufficiency is nice. No, not even B, C, mid C. I mean, honestly, like Sentry's probably like here, but the fact that ranked self-sufficiency in ranked matters, and the fact that it is a little bit like Doc and Rook, where you can just kind of run around, be safe, and be free. You know, you could be free flowing. Sledge is next. Enough about Sentry. Sledge is solid. You know, 2 nades. Sledgehammer, always been a classic, always been decent. Good for countering Castle. Good for vertical play. Buck is pretty much just better for vertical play. There's not a lot of situations where you need Sledge, but just very well rounded. You know, you can open hatches, you can bust through walls, you can use the L8 and throw some nades at people to feed them out. I think he's just a very general, like, decent op. I'm gonna put him in the B tier, high B. Not quite as good as he used to be, just because nades have fallen off quite a bit. Smoke is next. Smoke, super good, especially if you're good with him. I do want to put Smoke in S tier, but I think that most people suck with him, and the fact that he is difficult to be good with makes him maybe like an A tier. I know it's crazy to say, but like I'm just very I know how good I can be with Smoke, but does that mean Smoke is that good, or does it just mean that I'm good with Smoke? It does mean Smoke's that good. No, Smoke is that good. He's better than Malusi for sure. The playmaking capabilities of Smoke are so good, and the play styles, you can play every single play style of Smoke. You can roam, you can anchor, you can flex, you can do whatever you want. You can retake, you can counter so many ops with these smokes that the plants, you can counter so much, and he is so good. So I am going to put him in the S tier, above Ace. Solus is completely useless now. They tanked this motherfucker, dude. They made her so bad. However, she is still better than Oryx. I think she is low C. Now, the only reason I'm saying she's like so bad is because she was literally here before. So she has fallen from grace to be completely nuked. I'm not picking Solus anymore. I have never played Solus. The main reason is you can't stop plant from below unless you have the shotgun, because otherwise you're trying to shoot through the floor and you might hit the bars, and it's just a little more risk to it. Whereas the impacts, you're pulling them off the plant, you're killing them, you're guaranteeing a kill essentially. And the shotgun is so bad with the laser sight nerf that it sucks to run. It just sucks to run. Plus, her ability got nerfed in literally every single way, and you can't use her in prep phase, so there's so many problems. There's so many problems with Solus. And just because I'm so mad now, I'm actually going to put her lower than Clash and Ella. Striker is next. I think Striker is better than Sentry, just because you have the M4, and you have better utility that works better together on the attack, and attacking is harder to coordinate. So having the EMP and the Heartbreach tools, yes, you can maybe open a wall, or you can get banded or Cade tricked by a single guy, and that's going to suck. Plus the breaches are not that good. Like the Heartbreach tools on a main wall is not as good as a Thermite charge and a Thatcher, right? Which we all of course know, but it's that self-sufficiency that Striker brings that makes him good. I personally like the nades and flashbangs if I am going to play Striker, and most of the time I'm not playing Striker. I think Striker's like B tier, like really not the best, but has some uses some of the time. Tachanka is next, and Tachanka usually ends up in the F tier for me, but the LMG is Tachanka's best asset, and I'm going to put Tachanka high. I'll put Tachanka above Clash. Good for popping holes in walls. The fire, absolutely atrocious. Never use Tachanka's ability. Tachanka's ability is the LMG. If you're not using the LMG, if you're using the Tachanka's main gun, Tachanka's here. If you're using the LMG, Tachanka's here. That's about it. Thatcher is still super good. Very good for traps. I mean, so many traps right now that Thatcher just, you throw them down and they disable the traps you can push in. Good for countering wall denial. Good for countering Cade tricking. Thatcher, in my opinion, is still S tier. Gonna be useful essentially every single round. Thermite's next up. I think Thermite is like an A tier op right now. I think Thermite's just super dope, super sick. There's a lot you can do with him, and his breaches are so big compared to the other breachers that it adds so much pressure. I'm trying to adjust this a little bit more. Oh, threw me again. Oh wait, it's this side. Oh, threw me against the other side of the screen. Damn. Okay, it was my own doing. I'm getting sweaty out here. My AC unit is off so I could record this video, and my balls have turned into Grimm's bees sliding around. Thorn is next. Thorn is bad. Thorn is bad. Yeah. Thorn's bad. Thorn's like bad Ella. Thunderbird is next. Thunderbird's bad. Thunderbird's bad doc, okay? Thunderbird, yeah, Thunderbird's really bad, actually. Thunderbird is worse than Orcs, for sure. I'm gonna put Thunderbird in the F tier. That's our F tier defender right there. And the main reason for this is not only are Thunderbird's heals so bad and take so long for you to actually get to full health, you have to travel around the map, which adds a lot of risk running and grabbing those. You could be crossing multiple lines of sight that the attackers are holding and die from it. The attackers can also take the site and then use the Thunderbirds against you once they have it. So it is just really just like, it's like throwing the dice in the air and hoping that you land on red or whatever, roulette, gambling. I do the poker. So yeah, Thunderbird, atrocious. I'm never pick Thunderbird, and she's bad. Tubero, however, is very, very, very good. Tubero's an S tier pick. Tubero's got the ACOG. Tubero's got the counter wall stuff. You know, Tubero Kate, Tubero Bandit, very good combos. If you bring Tubero, they essentially can't get the wall open unless they have Maverick, and even then, Maverick is standing on ice and very slow, and you can shoot him through his own holes while he's frozen. So Tubero is so good and counters so much more. Counters Glaz, counters Dokkaebi, counters Deimos. He is going to be another solid S tier pick right here above Smoke. Twitch is next. Twitch, pretty mid. I mean, has her uses for sure. Not quite as good as Brava, I don't think, but a good droner op, you know, solid. Twitch, F2, nice, fun, well-rounded, decent, B tier. Then we have Valkyrie, and as you can tell, I am taking notes. Valkyrie is super good. I think she's A tier, very good with coordination. You know, in a 5-stack, Valkyrie's gonna be S tier. But the fact that most people aren't 5-stacked, and a lot of times people just don't get on cameras, which is super annoying. So yeah, screw that. She kind of forces the other team to bring IQ if you are playing that information very well. I'm going to put her up here above Ashe and Echo, because I do think the cams are better than the Echo drones. And you can use that C4 from underneath for that C4 cam combo, right? You know where they're pushing from. You hop on the Val cam, you pre-place the C4, you get off right before they walk into it, you blow it, you get a kill. So that's a very nice and easy way to get kills, and she's banned all the time because she is really good. Vigil's next up. I mean, the Boss G is kind of taken over, honestly. Vigil's honestly good just because of the Boss G, I think. His ability is not super great, but the fact they can't pinpoint exactly where you are, and then they have the face check, and then they walk into a Boss G, it's actually kind of nasty. I think he's like B tier. I definitely think he's better than Mozzie and better than Jaeger. However, is he better than Maestro? Probably not, but he is good, especially if you're really good with him. Well, Maya's next up, S tier defender, very strong, very good defender. Of course, a lot better than Jaeger. He can protect Miras. They're just sneaky. They're harder to drone out. They're harder to find, and it makes it so a lot of time you will actually mess up your utility because you weren't aware of the fact that there was a Midas there. Plus he has the MP5 with the ACOG, which is gross. It's really gross. I think he's just up here with Cade, just below Cade. Warden is next. Good for countering Ying. That's about it. I think Warden still has his usefulness, especially with the shotgun in the close range areas. Like locking down a close range area with Warden is really nice. If you have a site where you know you're going to play somewhere close range, you can pick them and just say, yeah, you can't flashbang me, you can't smoke me. How are you going to clear me? Well, you probably won't. Even if they have a shield like a blitz, you can just put your glasses on and, well, you're probably going to get actually knocked on your ass if that's the case. Blitz can still counter them, as well as Monty. However, walking in those close ranges is a lot easier with the Warden. And I do think he's decent. I do think he's good. I think he is probably like a lower B tier, but not as useless as a lot of people think. Gonna have to make this a little smaller because we are getting a new addition. To the S tier, we have Ying. Ying is so good. 2 smokes, 4 flashes, burns everything, blinds everyone, kills everyone. LMG, nasty, gross, clapping. I think Ying has a well-earned spot right here in the S tier. Then we have Zero. A lot of people love Zero. Zero is good on console, but not really that good. I mean, he's good on console specifically of the fact that you can't pinpoint the sound of the Zero cam as easily as you can on PC, making it harder to actually find them when they're shot in the building and making them more likely to survive. However, on the top ranks in PC, your Zero cams are not surviving. They're gone. They are absolutely gone, bro. It doesn't matter what room you shoot them into, unless you're shooting them into rooms that nobody is anywhere near, like the site's top floor and you're shooting them into the basement, great. In that case, he can be good for flank watch. You can cut people off. However, you still have to hope that the rest of your team is doing some shit well, because if you're just sitting there watching the flank and your whole team dies, well, now you're in a 1v5 and getting the kill on the flank isn't going to matter at all. So he's very team-based. and very, very reliant on having good teammates, which I don't like because I want to carry my team in order to win, because that's the only thing I can rely on is myself, because my teammates are going to be bad sometimes and they're going to be good sometimes. So I think Zero is extremely overrated. He has a good gun. Yes, he has a good gun. He has a gun 6. He has the hard breach tools. I've heard it all before. I know. Trust me. I know. I've played so much Zero. Oh, you just don't know how to play them. You just don't know. You just think he's bad because you don't know how to play him right. No, that's not the case. I've played so much of this operator. I've played 10,000 hours of the game, and 9,000 hours I've been committed to Zero, and I still think he's ass. No, that's an exaggeration. I haven't played 9,000 hours of Zero. However, I have played quite a lot of Zero. I think Zero is better than Gridlock, better than Mav. I will give him the diligence of being in the B tier at least, because he does have his good moments, but it's not going to be very high. I'm going to say Glaz is better than Zero. That's where the line has been drawn, and you're going to have to live with that. I'm sorry. Lastly, we have Zofia. Zofia, like I mentioned before, has the 2 impacts like Ash, but also the stuns. However, being the 1 armor and having a lot of risk pulling out that launcher because it is so slow is a major downside for her. She's still solid. She's still good. I just don't think she's quite as good as a lot of the other operators. I barely play her anymore because that's the sad reality of how far she's fallen from grace. So let's put her in the B tier right there. Do a quick zoom out. There you have it, guys. My tier list for Year 9 Season 2. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll see you on the next one, boys.